I actually did this test. I don't know if you have been curious about this, because I certainly was. In fact, I watched a Krebs video on it a little bit, but he was dealing with aircraft. But the whole idea of crew experience, like if you had a crew maxed out, like what would that be like?
Oh yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
I saw that. Yeah, it was interesting to see how much actual like in numbers what kind of difference it can make, because it's not like one of the things that World of Tanks does. At least it gives you a percentage, and then you can get mods that will calculate off that percentage what effect that will have on your actual crew. It doesn't tell you directly, but at least tells you information that can then let mods tell you. But
Right, right.
War Thunder doesn't have really any of that, I don't think.
Well, I did it. I decided to go ahead and do it on like one of my KV1s. So I spent about, I spent $25 to get like enough gold for another month of premium. But that left me with, about 10,000 to spend on crew training. So I did the, was it the, how much is it? Is it 1,000 per? I think it's 1,000 per. Yeah, that's right. So I spent 2,000 gold on upgrading this, and I wasn't even able to upgrade everything to maximum. That's the funny thing, because it gets exponentially higher, especially if you raise the crew qualification to ace, which is now what they are. So I took this tank out the first time with my new crew stats and so forth, and it failed massively. The crew still got knocked out. The reload times are a lot faster, and the repair times seem to be marginally faster. It still took like 30 seconds. Maybe it was because they were just kicking the crap out of me, and I had so much stuff to repair that it was still taking a long time. But yeah.
I don't know, yeah, the repair times especially, like, it does seem just massively variable anyway.
Well, I guess when you do get hit and, survive some kind of long, sitting out in the open for a long time, it is quite, at least, thrilling to survive those scenarios, but it doesn't happen often.
No, it doesn't.
I thought maybe one of the things I could do in this video is just chat about just like the state of content contributing on things like YouTube and Twitch. Because that was something I kind of was thinking about as I was coming home. If we can actually think and play at the same time, this will be the challenge, though. We'll probably suck even more, but at least as well, no shots there. Well, I was thinking that, actually I was thinking about it in relation to my scale modeling sites, right? Because they're scale modelers, they make models. Now, gamers don't make anything, technically, but they do experience, stuff, and some of them are making things like videos, like you're a good example. You decided at some point to become a gamer and a content maker because of, personal decisions you came through there. But
Yeah.
basically, I was thinking that, I don't know, maybe that's something as gaming evolves, it will become more of a kind of a shared thing. I mean, modeling is a very solitary thing, right? You build a model, usually you stick it on your shelf, and that was kind of that was the end of it back in the early days. But now it's become kind of this whole social thing where they have shows and, they do all this stuff that, hold on a second while I try to kill something.
Oh,
Target undamaged.
I think I kind of know what you're. I mean, people like there are some very big people that have talked about stuff like this, like Total Biscuit, for instance.
Right.
Just as an example, but like one of the keys of understanding YouTube, especially, like, I mean, it's to varying degrees, but it's all about the transformative experience, and that the smart game designers, and especially indie game designers, kind of understand this, and it's about the personalities involved and the kind of stories that they're, whoa, that's a arty strike right in my head, that they're using to like make their own narrative almost. That kind of way of looking at it, rather than just, oh, well, they're stealing our hard work to make these videos and profiting from it. Well, it's making something new out of it, putting your own stamp on it, and also, of course, the game developers, if it's a good or entertaining game, they can benefit from that as well. So, yeah, but some developers, some companies get that more than others. Others are just like, well, you're stealing our stuff. Like Nintendo is a really big example.
Right. Yeah,
I don't know if
that
you've
is a
been
bit weird. They don't. I
following
don't think
that
they
kind
quite
of.
understand the dynamic of how talking about these or making videos or engaging people online really is actually helping
Yeah.
their bottom line. You know, because it's bringing more people. I mean, I would never have played, say, for instance, DayZ is the mod game, and now I haven't bought the standalone, but I played the mod. I bought Arma 3, which helped out Bohemia Interactive, but I never would have done that if I hadn't have found some videos by, I don't know if are you familiar with Frankie on PC and 1080p?
I've watched. I'm aware of him. I've watched a couple
Yeah,
of videos, but I'm not actually subscribed.
I don't know. I find his stuff fascinating. It's just something about his personality, with the way he like narrates stuff. I mean, I'll watch videos on games, kind of like with you too. On games I probably have no intention of ever playing, but I just enjoy, him, playing the game, having fun playing it, commenting and so forth. So, and then there are some games that I actually have, but like games that you've played, CK2. I mean, CK2 is definitely a game up my alley. So, but I never would have been exposed to it potentially without your channel. So, that's something.
I mean, it is. It's partly that. It's partly entertainment. It's finding games that you might not know about. Sometimes, I mean, there are like I don't know if you've ever watched any of Jesse Cox's video, but he's one of the bigger Let's Players around. He's
I haven't actually.
On, but the thing is, I'll watch. It's funny because I'll watch him playing through a game if it's a game I have no intention of actually playing myself, because I actually want to. If I want to go and play it myself, then obviously it might there'll potentially be spoilers for whatever story is happening. So of course, I just leave it be. But if it's a game that I have no intention of playing myself, and it's just at that point it's pure entertainment. But there are other channels where it's like, well, I go to find out about other games that I might be interested in, or just to see a bit of gameplay, or kind of a mix of all of the above. So there's no kind of like one simple thing with YouTube.
I just got kamikaze bombed, by the way.
Yeah, that's kind of annoying when that happens. But that's actually, talking of Krebs, he did a recent kind of roundup. Like he seems to have really gone back into War Thunder after a big long break.
Right.
But he did a video about the player council, like feedback that's come back from Gaijin about
what they're doing right and what they're doing wrong.
Yeah, and one of the things is like that kind of like there's no incentive for people jumping into an air battle in games like this not to just like
because they're given 30 seconds usually or something.
Yeah.
Or does it vary? It seems like it varies for some players.
I'm not sure, but
if they get a perk if they.
It's a bit silly, but
yeah, well, they ought to do probably what they've done for artillery. In other words, instead of having artillery in the game, have it come in from off, just like have the airstrikes be kind of like flying, bots flying across the screen, hitting a certain quadrant or something that you call in an airstrike on or something. That would allow the players who have anti-aircraft vehicles to have something to shoot at, as well as reduce this kind of. I have a same problem in playing the aircraft. The fact that players will ram you is just not. I know it's just not. It's counterproductive to human instinct. Nobody in like a real battle scenario is going unless they're Japanese.
No,
maybe.
I mean it totally breaks. Like one of the few selling points that War Thunder does have is that there's this kind of more, not necessarily realistic experience, but authentic experience, and that really doesn't fit in with that at all.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's I think RamJB's on the player council thing as well. And I think Krebs is looking to get on it, but it's like it's interesting that there is that mechanism that there isn't there in World of Tanks at all. There's that kind of direct feedback from more prominent members of the community. Say,
I have a plane diving at me right now. You missed me, but I could see his machine gun fire like for I don't know 10 seconds before he was actually hit the ground. Yeah, I mean
also,
when you survive.
Go ahead. Sorry, I was just saying I set up separate guns for. Like separate buttons for changing between the different guns on this.
And
that appears to have reset itself, which is somewhat annoying.
Yeah, I think I know. I haven't played the only one that was really I was having that doing that a lot with was the Lee. I haven't played the
Yeah,
Lee in forever,
it's
but
useful to have them both set up separately.
yes.
Don't know why
Well,
it's not.
can you control your bow gun machine gunner because I haven't actually been able to even activate that for a while.
Some tanks have got the machine gunner as a controllable thing. Other tanks don't.
I'm right here behind you, by the way. You're like
There's no way
7
to really
o'clock.
tell. Just got my silhouettes at the moment. This T-34 is right in the way. It's annoying because the gun aim points are different. So one of the guns is effectively useless if you're not controlling them separately. So I'm really just using the main gun at the moment.
Some things that really flummoxed me about this game is like earlier, I was shooting up at the backside of a KV-1, right? I was hitting him in the rear and in the back of the turret and stuff, and it was having almost no effect. And I'm using the AP with a lot of penetration. It doesn't look like it has a lot of explosive damage, at least by their illustration.
It's kind of it's funny ammo in this game because more pen is not necessarily
a good thing.
always the best. Yeah, because it might just pass clean through. The damage mechanic on this game seems to all be around like shell spalling and that kind of fragments of shells doing damage within the tank.
Yeah, I have noticed that. This guy's like inside of a tank, isn't he?
Yeah, these two bot tanks. All right, we really need to get them this some cap. I think there's a Hetzer there. I've seen one of those before.
Oh, he's gonna shoot at me. No, T-34, back up! Damn it.
Both these bots are looking at me. I don't want to drive past them and give them my side and rear, even though we really need to cap.
Yeah. I'm trying to hit them with the explosive now to potentially get some of that spall damage, but yeah, not happening. We should try the other one with more
Possibly I've run out of time to cap on this one, but we'll see.
Yeah, but
this is
several
two
times.
bots sitting inside each other.
Yeah,
This is
I've
really
never actually
not
seen this
cool.
before. Oh, the other one's dead. The other one's alive there.
Let's see if I can get out of this. I already survived one eye barrage in my KV-1 earlier. My SU's heavily on fire though.
Yeah, he's dead. Okay, well then we got B, but now we've lost A. Well, now we lost A.
Yeah,
so,
I think
well.
we've just lost this battle.
Yep. I actually killed a few early on. I've got three kills
I'm going to
and
quickly
2
set
assists.
up keys with the guns because this is really annoying. It has entirely reset my controls and I don't know why.
Yeah. Of course. Oh, yeah, and I got killed by an aircraft at the end there. B-25. Same guy that killed me
me
earlier,
too.
Rocket Man 4. He likes to kamikaze. And that's
There's no
the
reason not to do it at the moment.
I guess maybe I had to get into a rank 2 at least battle to get B-25s. When I noticed when I was bombed by B-25s the first time, it was like, really? B-25s? You have to introduce those to the aircraft mix? Yeah.
Just assigning crew points. Right, I'm ready to go. Right, I've hopefully got it.
So is the SMK a premium?
Yeah, I've bought a couple of premium tanks. Like that's probably the most I'll ever do in this game, rather than buy more premium time. Like for the longest time in World of Tanks, the only money I ever spent on it was like a little bit for getting more crew slots, more garage slots, and very occasional premium tanks. And that was obviously before I started doing the channel, where having a premium account is obviously way more useful. But,
right. Well, this thing this thing looks like it's a combination of a battleship and.
It's a funny looking thing. The T-35 is the other multi-turreted one the Russians get, which I think actually costs more gold than the SMK does.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I've never seen even a diagram or a picture of that one. But what's they did have a multi-turreted tank that was fairly. Yeah, the T-35 is the one I'm probably thinking of. Yeah, this one actually was in the war and actually saw service and stuff.
I think the SMK.
Did it?
Like,
I've never seen it.
They built one or two, and they got sent to Finland, and they were just horrendously bad. So it was like they made a couple of prototypes. I'm sure it was Finland.
Well,
it was the
where
prototype KV, and then the prototype.
Where, if I remember correctly, they got their butts kicked, so they probably don't want to feature that too much.
Right. Yeah,
really.
but it was a bit of a dead end, also in terms of like having multiple turrets because it was so unwieldy.
Yeah,
slow.
it sticks the turret up so high. I'm sure it just makes it an easier target.
It's actually, I mean, it can be really tough. It's got good hull armor, but the actual, like the binnacle, whatever you want to call it, that the main turret sits on is pretty vulnerable.
Right.
So if people just shoot you there a bunch of times, then the hull armor doesn't really matter that much. So, yeah. And also you get flanked really easily. So it can be funny, but the main advantage of it is that it has a lot of crew members, and so therefore sometimes you stay alive longer just because your crew, you've got more crew members left over spare kind of thing.
Right, right. How is your quest for better internet going? You said that they're making some changes there, and you're looking
They're
for...
starting to advertise sign-ups for fiber in the local paper. So I might, my ISP is not, like, it's British Telecom that's actually putting in the infrastructure, and it's British Telecom that's advertising so far.
Right.
But I might, my ISP is actually a subsidiary of British Telecom. So in theory, I can't see why I wouldn't get fiber. But I'm actually, now that I've started to see like ads for it in the paper, I'm actually going to see if I can phone up my ISP and just make sure that I am going to get it, rather than having to change ISP, which would be a bit of a pain at this stage.
So you think if you had better internet connection, you'd start a Twitch channel?
Upload speed is the thing for Twitch. Like fiber would let me potentially stream things.
Right. I'm sure there's some of your fans would obviously love that. You'd stay. I mean, I know you'd keep doing Circon stuff, but of course, he doesn't stream all the time.
There are days when he doesn't stream, and I would do it like Jingles has done the occasional, like very occasional bit of streaming, and I would probably do it like that, because I wouldn't. Like, YouTube is, especially the relatively high amount of editing I do for my World of Tanks videos, especially. It can be quite time consuming, and it seems like if you wanted to go, well, I know from Circle, if you want to go to Twitch, like that is a serious time commitment if you're going to make that your main activity, your main output. So you can. I've actually been watching, like, I don't know if you know ItMeJP.
No.
Does a lot of D&D stuff, but he's also popped up on other people's, like, he does occasionally like video games as well, but he does a lot of D&D campaigns with various kind of YouTube people. I think I found him through Total Biscuit, actually. But he's actually started his own kind of not podcast, vodcast, I guess you'd call it, around the idea of like him and a couple of streamers that he plays with regularly. And one of the topics they were covering was like YouTube versus Twitch, and how you kind of get Twitch people that dabble in YouTube, and then you get YouTube people that dabble in Twitch, and they were kind of discussing like the reasons for doing that, like why there's that kind of split.
Oops.
And it just comes down to time, basically. And also there's a difference in the kind of content, because what like, I can't remember who it was somebody I wasn't familiar with necessarily, but they were saying that they upload their Twitch VODs to YouTube, and they get some views. It's good for if people want to, if they don't necessarily have time to watch Twitch streams, but compared to actual, like, oh, I got ganged up on there. It's so annoying that when that happens and you get hit and then you just sat there and you can't move and you're repairing, you can't shoot.
Well, my biggest issue is I can't shoot my gun right now. I guess because my gunner's unconscious, but it's like, how long is he going to stay unconscious? I need to know these things. Now, sometimes they say that, like, I just saw a message at the bottom there that he's unconscious for 9 more seconds, but I swear that message wasn't there earlier. It's like they hit him again and then it gave you the message. I did notice, though, kind of a fun little thing that I haven't ever seen before. I was using the HE with that SU-122. I destroyed a tank down the road. I must have splash damaged the tank next to him, and then someone killed that tank, and I got an assist. So that was kind of funny, because I didn't even see that tank that I must have splashed.
I did have someone trying to argue with me that World of Tanks has sort of just as much RNG, if not more, than War Thunder, but it's different levels of RNG.
Yeah, I mean, definitely is RNG, but I don't know. It's World of Tanks is far more predictable. Like mainly
Yes.
because of the whole, you know if you're using your armor correctly and there's not someone behind you shooting in your rear or something, that the likelihood of you, say, getting an ammo rack or something is very, very little. Versus this game, there was a shot a few days ago, or within the last week, I saw where, and granted, maybe their shot dynamics, replays aren't working exactly the way the shot, potentially went into your tank, but it actually showed the shot going laterally through armor. In other words, hitting the armor and then traveling through maybe 1,000, 2,000 millimeters of armor and continuing on until it hit the ammo rack. And of course,
stuff like that
that's
doesn't make
impossible. No matter what kind of shell. That's a laser
stuff
shell.
like that stops it. Like the argument that the game is more realistic.
Exactly.
It's not. Authentic, maybe, but not realistic.
And there have been tanks recently where I've gotten hit in the strong frontal armor. Like I was in a Stug yesterday, and I got hit by, I forget what it was. It was something not that, like an M3 or something. And I'm sure he's shooting the best ammo that the M3 can shoot, but he penetrated the thick armor block that's on the front of the Stug and maybe around the driver visor area. And again, that's something you could never really do in World of Tanks
That was
easily.
A suicide bomber. I'm down to my last tank now.
Yeah, I got hit by that too and tracked. Suppose I'll repair. This isn't my fast repair one though.
I don't know. We kind of abruptly switched topics, I know, but
yeah, well, we do that.
I always feel like I can play World of Tanks in a much more calculated way, whereas this game it just feels like drive forward and cross your fingers, and you can try and do some stuff the same, like use terrain and flank people and whatever, but you can sneak up behind somebody and shoot them in the butt 5 times in a row and have nothing happen, and then they shoot you once and you die. There's stuff like that kind of kills the game ultimately. That's
what just happened in that last match. I was shooting that. I was shooting that KV-1 in the cap circle. I hit him several times in the rear and then in the back of the turret. Then I was shooting an M3. Now, granted, I was shooting him with that, that ammo that I was talking about. See, I just killed an SU 122, I think, in the side, just with one shot. But I was shooting at this M3. That's a rank 1 tank. I'm shooting at him with a KV-1, and he just would not die. I just hit him over and over again in the front of the tank. I think
that's one of those ones where, again, it has relatively more crew than a lot of tanks, and that actually helps it a lot. The fact that it has more crew almost means more survivability in a lot of scenarios, because you can afford to lose more crew members.
Exactly.
So I
definitely know what you mean, because with World of Tanks, you can kind of play things smart and win, whereas with War Thunder, even the smartest you're playing, there's likely that you're going to just get somebody do something really derpy.
Yeah, it's like one shot or I'm dead. I've spent a couple of minutes sneaking up behind somebody, and I've been, and then suddenly, whole thing's ruined by just stuff you can't control.
Right. Or that was my thinking with the whole crew thing. I don't know how much people have been playing this game for a long time. I suppose if they have high-level crews and they're taking an M3 or something kind of low-level rank 1, maybe they're able to kill lots of... I mean, I killed a Tiger in one shot with my SU-122 when my indicator clearly said it was red. It was like it wasn't going to pen, but again, it was the high-explosive shot probably. So
HE is super unpredictable in this game. Like, one of the funniest shots I had with... Oh, I don't have repairs on this yet. This is good. With the 105mm derp Sherman, was I hit a Tiger in the turret from a couple hundred meters away, and that was just like one shot kill. And I was like, okay then. That was not really skill, that was not really anything, that was just me having to hit him, and somehow it killed him with one shot, a Tiger. And killing a Tiger with a 105mm Sherman in World of Tanks, with one shot would be somewhat unlikely. There is an Ostwind.
Well, I love playing them, but these flak units like the M16, the M13, and the Soviet one, I mean, they seem to be a little OP in their ability to like take out tanks. Like that's all I've been being attacked by in this KV-1, and they're knocking my tracks off, keeping me penned, and doing damage, like sometimes knocking out crew. I'm just not sure their guns would actually have that effect.
No.
I mean, from the side and stuff, yes, but I'm face on to them. So if KV-1 face on against a 50 caliber, I don't think that 50 caliber can really do much, even with his best ammo.
I really want to have these air people, but I'm never in a position to actually.
Yeah, I squad with a guy who constantly, that's all he's doing. Come up in an air battle with me, and I'm like, no, because it's a tank game. It's not. If I wanted to fly aircraft, I'd fly the aircraft. Damn it. And that's the point I made. I was gonna say I made a point in my video. And maybe you can like kind of put your spin on it. But it's like when you play the aircraft, right? You can play aircraft and not face human people on the ground firing back at you. But when you play tanks, you pretty much are going to have to face potentially human players up in the sky. It just seems completely unfair.
Well, I don't know. I mean, in some ways, like, that's about the only really unique selling point this has, is that it has those combined armed battles.
Yeah, but they could still do that and offer the combined battles, but not make flight a mandatory thing in the tank battles. I don't know. I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to probably bring in players from the aircraft segment of World of Tanks to play the tanks by saying, hey, you want to fly your planes, you can. But, yeah.
Also, I've just noticed another thing that irks me. Like, no, I don't have repairs on this, so I can at least sit in the cap circle and repair. But it doesn't then tell you how long that's going to take, as opposed to just normal repairing, where you can get a timer on it. Just slightly...
yeah, the things they display to you, like there should be a crew indicator, like the status of your crew, to say, hey, you know, your driver's out, or your gunner's out, or something. With maybe a little countdown timer telling you how long it's going to be till they're back. I guess they'd probably argue, well, then you're not really getting the immersive feel. The commander doesn't always know what's happening with his tank, blah, 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 blah. But... I know a whirlwind is firing at me, and for some reason I can't fire back at him. I don't know why this is. Oh, I guess I can move, though. I'm repaired.
We'll go for the B point.
You know what? It sounds odd to say or whatever, but it's like the game almost needs an XVM to kind of give you some of the things that the developers aren't giving you. Like right there, my tank was repaired, but I didn't get any audible, like from the crew saying tank repaired or, you know, whatever, to let me know that I could move.
There's a lot of information it would be nice to have. There's just no, like, modding is just not a thing for this game. There's skins and there's things, which is nice, but it just doesn't have that. You know, even with the kind of barely supported state of things in World of Tanks, where it's, if you want to mod, it's literally just like you have to grope your own way towards, like, there's no official support at all. It's just you have to jump in at the deep end, literally. But even that is better than what what War Thunder has.
Yes, yes. The one thing I wish, skipping back to, or changing topics again, we do this, to World of Tanks, I really wish they would introduce the portability feature with accounts that they talked about potentially doing. I just think it's, I don't know, it seems like if I paid for my North America account, but if I want to go on a European server, this is one of the few games where I can't, like, play with friends from Europe, you know, like I can do it with this game, I can do it with other games, but for some reason with World of Tanks, no, you'd have to have your own account to get on that server.
And they were talking about, like, roaming was actually something they got as far as demoing, and they went on people's live streams and, like, did roaming account stuff. But then they just decided, though, we're going to can the whole thing, basically. It kind of seems like, so... I
know at one point Highflyer had one of the demo accounts to use, like he could go on and look and go to different servers, but yeah, I guess they made him a test person or something.
Yeah, I don't think it ever really got beyond the testing stage, and then they obviously just decided they weren't going to do it entirely. So
what do you think about Armored Warfare? Have you seen anything for that yet? Or?
Well, probably the same stuff you have, you know, Jingles videos, that kind of thing. I have applied for the alpha. You know, I'm interested enough to do that much at least. We'll see if anything comes of it. I've actually, like, about 3 times over now, I've put my email in, so I don't know if that counts against me. But I think the last 2 times, it was basically putting my email into something, and then the most recent time, it was actually going and filling out some kind of form, which might
I am actually in talks, or I have communication lines with that company. So I mean, I've talked to them, and I've mentioned you, and they've been fairly, positive about like in replies. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously they're not giving us early beta access, early alpha access, but
Yeah, it's literally just kind of play tests at the moment.
Right.
It's any kind of sustained.
I think they're letting obviously some people like Jingles. I mean, Jingles has been getting between the World of Warships footage he was allowed to release, and then some of that early. He's getting some definite good stuff.
That's some nice early access. If you manage to negotiate that with somebody, then
right. Well, the thing about Jingles is interesting. He has what 300 and something thousand subscribers.
He's got to be one of the bigger.
But
British gaming channels at this point.
Well, I was going to say, actually... but he carries the weight. In other words, he gets the views of a channel that would have millions of subscribers. So that's kind of that's a big deal. I mean, I think that shows his loyalty of his fan base and so forth.
Definitely. Sure... I've seen channels with far bigger subscriber bases that have like that just does not translate into the views per video, and that's. Quite,
By the way, what ping are you getting? Because are we playing in a North American server? I don't even know.
I am 160.
Oh, you are definitely. I'm 77, so yeah. That'll be the only thing with me starting the squad. I guess it kind of located us here.
I think I've normally got it set so I play NA, EU, and RU because I've been stuck on some of the SEA servers sometimes, and it gives some really horrendous ping. So.
Well, this game isn't too bad in terms of lag. I just had a little bit there, but early on when we started.
I've definitely played games that are a lot more sensitive to it than this one. Although with it, I think the ground forces are certainly more so than the air forces.
Yeah. More to render, I guess. Yeah, I'm not sure I agree with Jingle's criticism about the land itself or the rendering of the game. I actually find the terrain and stuff pretty good in War Thunder. Some of it can be derpy, like the placement of rocks and so forth, and you get stuck. But that happened in real life, so you got to know the terrain, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing that World of Tanks has done is try to make it kind of terrain friendly.
Oh, so. it's unabashedly like World of Tanks. So you're unabashedly fighting in a constructed arena. Like,
exactly
really
right.
Try and pretend to be
basically something that's trying to be balanced, on both sides.
Yeah.
Which I always find to be kind of, I don't know. It seems like if you're playing the side that has the weaker X, like a good example is, now figures I can't remember the name of the map, but the map with the ruins and the in the center.
In World of Tanks?
World of Tanks. The one with the ruins and kind of like the valley in the middle or the river, the dried up riverbed. But there's a problem now with that map. Like if you're on the... Driver's been dazed and I can't move the barrel too. Great. Yeah, I can only repair. I'm gonna die. I've got 4 tanks in front of me, so yeah. Yeah, that was a predictable outcome. Anyways, but yeah, there's a... It's an older map. It's been around World of Tanks for a long time. It's the one with the bridge kind of in the middle, and then you have 2, flanking sides.
I'm drawing blank here as well.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of a specific... I blame them, too, because, the names of the maps are just kind of, like, so oddball that they're kind of... Redshire is one I can remember because it's just,
Yeah, but on the other hand, you get, South Coast and Serene Coast, that kind of thing.
Exactly, right. But anyways, if I can remember the map I'm talking about, but there's a problem in that when they made some changes to it, now I think it's the northern team, they can spy across the little gully valley there and see to the other side. When the south team has to try to move across this opening, they have no cover, 0 cover, and if a scout gets in there and spots them, it's just like they're taken apart.
Mountain Pass, maybe?
Yeah, I think maybe it is Mountain Pass, yeah. So they definitely have kind of like hurt that map or made it to some degree almost like they've broken it essentially.
They introduced they actually was that 9.6 they did that? I can't remember. I think the last patch actually.
They put the rock in, there's a rock on the northern side now that you can kind of hide behind.
They changed it somewhat. It's somewhat different, but yeah, map bouncing issues have always been.
Well, the reason I was going to bring that one up is because I don't have a problem with them keeping that map the way it is, but players need to obviously understand that, oh, well, yeah, we're kind of at a disadvantage doing it, like, attacking from this side, so we'll have to do X to counter, you know, that fact.
Yeah.
Rather than try to make every map balanced. I think that's kind of silly, because you never can make every map completely 100% balanced.
But you do get some, like, there are some that, they can be quite slow reacting to this stuff, and there's... Mines is an example of a map that on higher tiers, like it has been for 9.6, they have made some changes to that finally, but that was one that there was some really quite severe issues in terms of which side you started on really influenced your chances of actually winning the battle.
Yep.
And so, I don't know, that they've actually... Like, map design must just generally be a tough thing to get it right, but do you remember the old port map? Like, I really liked how that looked, but that was they ended up, like, they didn't even bother trying to rebalance that one. They just took it out of the game entirely because it was so... I guess they tried and failed to rebalance it, so they just...
The funny thing is with certain maps, I never... Like, they would say, oh, well, it's obvious that the north or the south has an advantage here. Now, like, that was a map where I didn't actually see the advantage per se. I mean, I could win from either side. Like, maybe there was a statistical disadvantage.
Yeah,
because that's what they look at.
Like the numbers, like they're the ones with the access to the numbers, and they're very kind of shy about sharing the actual numbers a lot of the time. So it's
well, I suppose that's
like,
a good thing that they're actually looking at that kind of stuff.
Oh, it is. I mean, it's interesting reading the answers that the Russians get, because we get to learn things like, well, they don't necessarily specifically always monitor things. They have to go and deliberately look at, we're going to look at this tank for X number of battles to see how it's performing and that sort of thing.
I don't know about you, but one thing I really, and maybe it's from playing World of Tanks, I can't stand, don't call in the background, is the fact that all the tanks in this reverse at just such pathetic speeds.
Oh yeah, you can't
trying to back out
terrain at all in the same way.
Trying to back out of the scenario
to do things that you would like to or love to do.
That said, I have to say that, and I don't know how you felt about the game lately, but playing World of Tanks has been rather frustrating. I don't know if it's the new batch of players in the game, so there's just a lot more, new players, and therefore they don't quite get how things work, and you get these frustrating outcomes, and I don't know, just it seems like...
I have been playing it a bit less lately, to be honest.
Yeah. Like,
it's mostly been when I've been on the stream, and days when I'm not on the stream, I might play a half dozen battles and just leave it at that. Like, try and get some dailies. Days when I'm actively trying to, like, go for a mission or grind a particular tank end up being way more frustrating usually than days when I just go, right, I'm going to do, like, however many battles I want to do, and then I'm just going to go. And that's
you see
the way to do it.
Right here. Doesn't he have he had an icon above him. He still has an icon above him. It's like I can't kill him.
No, I think it was yeah, he was a bot.
He was a bot, but it's like I shot him in the side twice. I actually got a red indicator on the side of his armor. That's odd. I'm shooting the AP. I don't have any. I just have HP and HE or whatever the other second base. And what is on this one?
Why I'm playing this time? Should be safe here. I hope.
Yes, kill all the things. Kill them with fire.
So we can catch this eye up too. It puts you quite far away enough that generally it's hard to catch up with them before they drop their bombs. Like, I'm not always sure what the point of...
yeah.
I think he's just dropped his bomb on somebody, so there's no chance of... Oh, hello. Oh, I actually got a... Yeah, because I shot him a couple of times, didn't actually shoot him down because he suicided into the ground. That was basically counted as a kill for me. And I did nothing for it.
Nice.
Because I was the only one to really shoot him there, so... Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that, people can definitely make claims of, oh, I got X amount of assists, but literally you just have to tag somebody once with a stray round, and then if they get killed by someone else, you got an assist. I suppose there's a time limit / whatever to have that happen. There's one gone. Is there someone else up there too? No. Okay.
Trying to way around to the C point. Oh, nearly where you are.
Yeah, I'm trying to kill this KV, but not having much luck. Oh crap! Somebody up there. Maybe I should
That's
run.
Kamikaze Lee. Wow, he's really going for it.
And he locked my turret, unfortunately. See if I can get a sneaky shot on him. Oh no, I'm not reloaded.
Fine, I got a crit. Should be able to take him. Yeah, he's
good.
Kind of stuck there.
I'll just get angled. Oh, he's got shots down at my top.
Shell went all the way through.
My loader must be out. Here we go. Oh, really?
Oh, wow.
It's seriously right into the side.
That was the first hit I took. Bam.
Oh, he died finally. Oh,
well, I shot that Lee like 3 or 4 times. I think 3 times. Did some critical damage. But then, very first hit I take from that KB1, it's like bam, dead.
Well, I'm using the hull charge ones now, which should be, decent armor penetration. I shot him right in the side. Just like I just shot that KV1, but I didn't aim that shot, actually, so maybe I should have. My reloads are so slow.
Sherman versus KV1.
See if I can kind of just get behind this guy and... Oh, he's out now. So he takes 1 shot from the front on the other KV1 and gets killed.
That's like I will dip into this game from time to time, but that's the kind of thing that keeps me from playing it for any real time.
Well, it's hard to get invested in it. Like I guess with World of Tanks, to some degree, especially once I learned, hey, wow, I'm an above average player. That's cool. I really hadn't cared all the times I was playing, but oh, nice. But I love how they still. Oh, and he still ran at me and rammed me and blew up. Nice. He was already dead, but. Anyway, so yeah, but I felt kind of, oh, well, I'm doing well in this game. Everybody's gonna like a game that they're doing well in usually. So that was, but this game, it's like I have no idea, whether I'm doing any better than the average scrub.
I think that's one of the reasons why, going back to things like Twitch and YouTube, the World of Tanks just so outnumbers. Like for the number of people streaming and putting even just up videos of War Thunder. Like it probably has a much bigger presence on YouTube than it does on Twitch, but it's just.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I've ever actually watched anyone broadcasting War Thunder, so that says a lot right there.
It's probably a lot easier to make the games look good and entertaining if you go back, and especially with the improvement in the replay system. Mm-hmm. Just from playing a bunch of games, then picking out the best 2 or 3 replays. Whereas if you're playing it live, well. If you're a good player in World of Tanks, you can have a consistent influence. You can have good days and bad days, but... Oh, hello. I think War Thunder's just probably a lot harder to get that consistency.
Now, I have to admit, watching some of the realistic or simulator battles, I think then maybe with the aircraft, then you get more into, okay, this person is very skilled.
I mean, I like the idea of it. I've tried 1 or 2 and I just can't get into it, but if other people are enjoying it, that's fine. I don't have to play it. Unlike World of Tanks, there are multiple game modes in this, which again is one of the kind of the selling points.
Mm-hmm.
But
all right,
yeah, I was actually, I don't know if you watched my World of Warplanes video, but I think
I did actually. Yeah.
Maybe killed that off. There was exactly one way to play the game.
How are your views on that one?
I've had a couple of people say, well, it's better at the higher tiers, but the thing is, if nobody persists through to get to those higher tier tanks, planes rather, then it's pointless to have it be better at the higher ranks than the lower ranks, because no one's going to stick around long enough. World of Tanks can be fun enough at the lower ranks, and then at some point you maybe get an idea of what you're doing, and that then applies to make your experience going up the ranks. You improve as you go along, in theory.
Right.
But you have to want to stick with the game to begin with. I think that's basically what killed World of Warplanes, because nobody did want to stick with it.
Yeah, it's just far less polished. I mean, you can see in World of Warships that they already have a lot of like looks like polish in the game that wasn't there with like the sounds and the the
I
way
think
things worked and so forth.
I mean, if nothing else, they have learned a lesson from World of War players. They do not want a repeat of that, I suspect.
Right, right. We can call it here if you. I don't know. Do you still have your?
What time is it? Yeah, I probably better head
Okay.
so I can go and jump and do some.
Well, thanks very much for the interview. I guess I'll call it.
That's fine. Let me know when it goes up. I'll spread it around.
Oh,
like
thanks.
Facebook
Appreciate it.
and whatever.
All right. Well, good talking to you. Good playing with you again. We'll see you next time, whenever that is.
Yep.
All right. Cheers.
All right. See you, Jim.
See ya.